Good morning, everyone. I'm Michael Serapio. Heather is away. Well, the party leaders have 4 days of campaigning to go until Election Day, and more, the talk is turning to the morning after the vote. Conservative leader Andrew Scheer is staking out his ground if the result ends in a minority government.
We expect that other parties will respect the fact that whichever party wins the most seats gets to form the government, and that they will understand that when Canadians endorse our platform, that we would have the right to implement it.
Now, that was Andrew Scheer in an interview last night. He adds that the Conservatives will not, quote, ask other parties for support. Talking about a minority government scenario is a shift from Scheer's message at campaign stops this week. He has been telling supporters the Conservatives need to elect a majority to block the Liberals and the NDP from uniting to form a government. And here's a look at why we are hearing all the talk about a minority government. You're looking at the latest projection from our CBC poll tracker, and using polling averages, it points to Liberals and Conservatives deadlocked at 130 seats, far shy of the 170 needed for a majority. And take a look at the other parties. The poll tracker also shows that the NDP and the Bloc Québécois each with 38 seats, and the Green Party winning what could be a tie-breaking 2 seats. Well, with that, let's go to Janice McGregor. She's tracking all the latest on the campaign trail for us. Joins us right now in Ottawa. So, Janice, good morning to you. We began there with Andrew Scheer. Talk to us a bit of what we heard from the Conservative leader last night. Talk to us about the argument that he's making here.
Well, Conservative strategists, Michael, seem to have decided that it's in their best interest to have Canadians believe now that Andrew Scheer could be Prime Minister. And we've seen this in his events, right? He's been talking about the first 100 days of a Conservative government, coming out step by step with first we would do this, then we would do that. Remember, he said earlier this week, as you point out, that he believed Conservatives could win a majority. And then here yesterday, we have him laying the groundwork for a scenario in which the Conservatives don't necessarily win the majority of seats, but they still win the most seats. And I took his messaging yesterday as a bit of a throwback to the kind of things we used to hear from Stephen Harper during his minority period. Remember when he talked about how losers form coalitions and winners should get to form government? They're really trying to frame deal-making between other parties as somehow undemocratic, and that, when we have a winner on Monday night, that person should get to win. But as we've seen recently in provincial legislatures, that's not actually how the Canadian system always works. It's not always that simple. And frankly, if the Conservatives can't work with any party, and if you listen to Andrew Scheer's messaging on this right now, it's not clear that he's laying groundwork to be making compromises or reaching out to other parties. Their only hope right now is to swing for the fence, to hit close and swinging ridings really, really hard, so that they tilt their way and they don't need to work with anybody else. But we're really moving to the point in the campaign now, Michael, where a party's ground game is absolutely critical. The parties know more than we do from the public polling right now about what's really going on in their close and their strategic seats. And when I heard Justin Trudeau yesterday talking about how dirty and divisive this campaign has been, that turns people off. That inspires them to join the apathy party, as they say, the stay-at-home party. He really can't afford to have progressive voters do that. That's why he's reminding them of the stakes, cautioning them against thinking that it's okay to support a third or a fourth party. He needs to mobilize the people still on the fence to show up in the places where Liberals really need them.
So, as you say, a lot on the line in this critical period, only days before Canadians actually go to the polls, those who have not already cast a ballot. So how is all of this going to play into the leaders' campaign strategies today, do you think?
Well, super interesting to see Trudeau in Quebec for a second day. That tells you a lot about what's going on. And when we have projections showing the Bloc Québécois north of 30 seats now in that province, they have to get their Liberal supporters in Quebec to the polls showing up for Justin Trudeau. Also, just really interesting to me that we see both the Conservatives and the NDP tours hitting Brampton today. We talk so much about those 905 seats around Toronto, but if you look at the Conservatives Conservatives, their path to victory, their chances of governing, so limited if they cannot convince people in these 905 seats to switch their votes from Liberal to Conservative. And so, you know, really watch these leaders' tours in the final days. They are our best preview of where the close and most strategic seats are, and in the case of the Tories here, what they see as their path to victory.
Janice, thank you. We will speak again today. That is our Janice McGregor in Ottawa.